8 books, only one winner. Which book has the best cover? Today, guys, I will be doing a random number generator and picking those books off my shelf and then doing a cover battle, tournament style. So there'll be 8 books to start with, and then those books will face off each other, and then eventually one winner. So today, we'll be seeing which one of these random books has the best cover. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so for book 1, I'm gonna spin a number on the number wheel, and it'll show up on the screen, and that'll be the first book I'm gonna go pick up off my shelf. All right, first book is number 88. I will have to go count on my shelf and see which book that is. Okay, first book in the first round of the tournament will be This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. So that is book number 1. Let's see what its opponent is. All right, book number 2 is 69. Let's go get it. Okay, book 2 will be Blood of Elves, part of the Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. So we have Blood of Elves versus This Golden Flame. Now, I'm not gonna lie, This Golden Flame, there's not really much going for the cover. It's just kind of like some like iconography and like this weird little font. But then you have Blood of Elves and you have Geralt standing with a sword and an axe in front of a castle. It has the big ass, my version at least, has the big ass Netflix button on top of it, or sticker. But Geralt's almost like, oh, okay, I didn't really notice this, but he's drawn in like an animation style almost. So yeah, a winner of round 1 will be Blood of Elves, part of the Witcher series, book 1 actually, if you don't include the prequel. And This Golden Flame is eliminated, and this moves on. All right, guys, let's do round 2. All right, book 1 of round 2 will be number 37. Let's go get it. All right, book 1 of round 2 is The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman, part of the His Dark Materials series, aka Golden Compass. If you guys have watched that movie or read or saw the show The Dark Materials on HBO. All right, let's see what book number 2 is for round 2. It'll be number 57, so 20 books after number 37. All right, book 2, round 2, will be The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan, part of the Trials of Apollo series. So you have The Subtle Knife again versus The Dark Prophecy, the battle of the book 2 books. Kind of similar in art style. Even the characters on the pages look even kind of similar. You see The Subtle Knife in the Philip Pullman cover. But I'm just a little biased. I like covers that have more going on with them. And as you can see, the Philip Pullman one doesn't have much going on, but I guess that might make sense with the name The Subtle Knife, you know, the subtle cover. But with Trials of Apollo, you have someone writing a hippogriff, or a griffin. Sorry, not a hippogriff. Yeah, I'm gonna give this round to The Dark Prophecy by Trials of Apollo, which means that in the next round of the bracket, it'll be Blood of Elves versus Apollo. All right, so this will be first round of the bracket, battle number 3. I know it's getting a little confusing, but I'll have it up on the screen to show you guys. So let's spin for this battle. I'm gonna spin the same time, actually, now that I'm doing this, so that I don't have to keep going back and forth. So in this round, the first book will be book number 134, which thankfully is easy to count, because I can just go backwards. And then book number 2, $125. So 134 versus 125. Let's go get them. All right, guys. So for this battle of the bracket, you have Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed, and then you have Stephen King, Holly. Now, these 2 books cannot be more different, even in the art style, the thematics, everything about them. This one you can obviously tell is super bright blue. This one is super dark blue. So kind of similar colors there, at least. So with the Heated Rivalry one, you have the 2 hockey players, you know, looking directly into each other, battling it out, having a heated rivalry, as some might say. Very simple cover, and I don't know who started this trend of covers like romance covers like this, where it's just like one color in the background and then like a slightly less complex drawing of characters. But I'm not a big fan of them. This one's all right though. It's really not bad because it's like, it looks nice. At least you can tell they're playing hockey, and you can tell they have some kind of like, you know, situation going on. But then you go over to Holly, and I kind of like, at least this is my cover, right? So it's actually raised, like the house and the letters on the cover are actually raised. You have a permanent sticker, which I'm not a fan of, but I will not be taking that into account just because it's a book cover battle and not like, you know, anything, like that doesn't take away from the art. The art itself is great. So you have this house, and you can see in the windows there is some people in there. At the top window is someone looking out, and at the bottom it's like a cellar window. It looks like there's bars on it and there's someone in there. So it seems like there might be like, you know, someone trapped, someone kidnapped. And this is just way more my vibe. I mean, it might be obvious, guys, but I'm really going with Stephen King Holly on this one. I really am a big fan of like the textured cover. Like the house is like almost like 3D if you like angle the book in a certain way. It's definitely like lifted, and it just feels nice. And there's stars in the background, the horizon. There's more into it. There's more into it. With the Heat of Rivalry one, it's just kind of bland. Like if they would have went more into detail with the background, like if they would have actually put like the hockey, like the walls and the crowd in the back and everything like that, then I maybe would have given it more points. But it's just one solid color with the two guys on it. I can't really do anything with it like that. So yeah, the winner of this round is Stephen King Holly. All right, guys, this will be the final battle in the first round. So just to recap so far, Trials of Apollo, Blood of Elves, and Holly have made it out of the first round. So let's see what the next book to make it out of the first round will be. So the first number is spin, 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 spin. All right, 85, and I believe the Golden Flame was 86, if I remember off the top of my head, so I can just go back and see what that one was. So 85 versus, and guys, let me know if this video is a good idea, and if not, if I can keep doing this series, because I have like over 100 something books. So let's see, 85 versus 113. All right, guys, let's get it. All right, guys, for the final battle of round one, you have The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, and you have Lore by Alexandra Bracken. Now, this is the battle of the big books, battle of the white books. And honestly, both of these covers are actually fantastic. So for The Shadow of the Gods, you have this giant dragon-looking creature with this tiny. If you don't look closely, you'll miss it. But there's a tiny little human there, and it just puts in perspective how big this dragon actually is. And my other favorite part about this is that it wraps into the back. So I know it might be hard to see, but you see the dragon, and then it actually goes into the spine, and then it goes into the back. So if you would flip the book open like this, you can see the entire art, which I find is a sick idea, and more artists and authors should start doing this, because I mean, how cool is that, right? So when you're actually reading it in public and people look at it, they're like, wow, that looks cool. So yeah, guys, that's a really cool cover. Not much going on besides the dragon and the guy on a big mountain, but that's really all you need in this kind of art style. And then we go to Lore by Alexandra Bracken. So you have just like a sculpture of Medusa, it seems, with the word lore on it. And like I said, this has the raised texture like Holly did. In the rest of the cover is, like this marble, like you can kind of see like a marble pattern on it, which is kind of cool and looking and everything. And you have this little like symbol in the background, which is important to the story. And with the lore, you can see the eye is in the circle, so I'm sure there's some hidden meaning there. I haven't finished this book. I started reading it, but I haven't finished it. But the Medusa snakes on her hair actually are raised, which I really do like. But I will have to give this round to Shadow of the Gods, just because of how cool this art is. I like more complex art, and it has the full cover art like that, so I really like that. So the winner of that round, Shadow of the Gods. So that's the end of round one. All right, so just to recap, we have The Trials of Apollo versus Blood of Elves, and we have Shadow of the Gods and Holly. Okay, so let's get started for round two. All right, so round two, Blood of Elves and The Dark Prophecy. So this one, both like of that cartoonish illustration, like comic book art style a little bit. The Witcher versus, which I believe is Apollo on the, I haven't read the Trials of Apollo yet, but like I said, there's the writing on the griffins, maybe some ostriches on the bottom. Oh yeah, those, I didn't even notice those at first. Those are ostriches with spiky helmets on them. It's kind of hard to tell if you don't really look closely. So that might be a little like knocked towards it. Now I will have to take into consideration the spines just because they will be, like it might be a close battle. So with the spine, you have the griffin right here and everything like that. It's kind of simple, but it is also kind of nice. Kind of like a loose art style, if you know what I mean. Like it's like loose lines, like not very structured. It's almost like more sketchy. And then you have like the Blood of Elves again. You have Geralt standing there with an axe and a sword full of blood, full of this castle. I really like this art. It kind of reminds me of Skyrim, and just giving that vibe of you just standing in front of the city like that. You have birds in the background. Oh, you actually get to see Geralt's scars on his back. So that's a nice touch. And I do like this art style that they chose to go with. Instead of a more realistic art style, they went with like the more like animation, like cartoony art style. It almost gives a little bit of like arcane vibe to it, which I do like. This might be a tough one, guys, but I'm gonna give it to The Witcher. So Blood of Elves wins, and we'll be moving on to the finals. All right, second round of the semifinals. You have Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, and you have Stephen King, Holly. Now this is a tough one because previously it was fantasy versus fantasy. Now this is fantasy versus horror thriller, I believe. So they're obviously, like, the covers are going to be very different because you're not going to have a fantasy style cover for like a regular thriller horror book. But I really do like this Holly book. It is like very just sleek and everything. The spine has the lamp on it like that. I like the lighting of it, especially like the horizon. You have the blue fading into the pinkish reddish. And then you have the bright yellow on the lamp and the two windows. I really do think the color choices on this cover are immaculate, and really, I'm not a big fan of a novel right there. I'm not gonna lie to you, being in the middle of Holly. I just feel like that's kind of dumb. Like, of course it's a novel. I don't know. Unless the title is Holly a novel, which it might be, if it's written like in that form. But I believe it's just called Holly. And then on the back you have, okay, so this one kind of does the same thing as the Shadow of the Gods one, where the spine, it's all one big art. Although there's not much going on in the background, it is still that same style, so that is a cool, I like that we're seeing a lot of that, actually. So then once you get back to the Shadow of the Gods, I mean, like, you guys can look at it, like, this is an insane creature. I'm sure this has incredible meaning in the book. I'm sure it's like a big giant, like, god dragon. And in the back you can see it even more, like, its wings are like tattered, not tethered, sorry guys. Words are hard sometimes. And you can see scars on it, so you can see it's a very weathered dragon, very weathered creature. It looks like it actually might be like aquatic in some sort. I don't know if that's true or not. It just looks like it might be able to go into the ocean because of just some of the way it is. There is some weird, like, the shapes on here. Like, there's this little like scar right here, which I don't know if that's a scar or meant to be a spike, but it's not very well like blended into the painting or to the art. This is a really tough round, guys. I'm gonna have to give it to Shadow of the Gods of John Gwynne. It just speaks to me more. I just love dragons and love, like, I mean, look at that. You can't not look at that and tell me that's not fantastic. All right, guys. So we're entering the finale of this tournament bracket. Let me know who you guys think will win below, who you guys think you were voting for at the beginning, and what it is at the end, and compare if you were right or wrong. All right, we got Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, and we got Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm never gonna remember that name. This is a tough one. They're both really good covers. I'm not gonna lie, there are other Witcher covers that I enjoy way more. I'm not gonna take that into account with this. I'm just saying, like, these are good, but these are not the best Witcher covers. I can't really say much more than I've already said about both of these covers. And for obvious reasons that you guys might see, Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne will be sweeping this tournament. It's not even close. 4-0. Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Lakers. Oklahoma City Thunder versus literally everybody else, because they just sweep everybody, even though I'm not a fan of them. Any basketball fans out there, comment down below. But yeah, Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne is the first ever random book cover tournament winner. If you guys want to see a part 2 of this at some point, comment, like, subscribe down below, and I'll definitely do it again because it is very fun. I love talking about cover book art and everything like that. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy. Augie out.